Okay, so picking up where we left off, we started to create the beginning of a skill tray. We have a single skill, and it's set to an attack. And we're going to do a few things. First, we want it to be context sensitive. So when it's the witch's turn, it will be a fireball. When it's the bodyguard's turn, it will be the swords that you currently see. So as you might have noticed over here, I already imported a couple images between videos. It's just dragging and dropping from the external folder into the asset area. And this one's going to be a shield. So we're going to add a second button, and it's going to be a defense button. Now, I probably should have added the defense functionality before going into the UI, but I kind of jumped ahead. So sorry about that. So first, let's get this icon to be context sensitive. So this icon, this button, has the button script attached to it. So if you go into the button script, we're going to add a couple sprite variables. So I'm just going to paste this in to save a little typing. So public sprite sword underscore img, public sprite fireball underscore img. Again, I like to append a few letters to the end of the variable so I know what kind of variable it is, because when you see that pop up in a list, it won't say sprite. There is an icon to the left like an F or an M or something like that, but generally speaking, I think people just see variable names and they're trying to remember what it is. So by putting the letters img, it's telling me it's an image variable. So we save that. We go back to the work area, and you see these now appear. So let's go ahead and put the fireball on the fireball, and let's put the sword on the sword. Now you could say, why am I doing this? I already have this here. This is just a default image, like if it's static, like a background that isn't changing. If we want to change them, we really need to give it a variable name so you can switch between these. Okay, so having said that, how do we switch between them? Well, we already have the variable called which turn, which tracks, as the variable suggests, whose turn it is. So we're going to go to the button script, and what we're going to do now is we're going to, in the update section, we're going to say that based on the turn to change it. So if it's which turn equals 1, it should be the fireball. If it's which turn is equal to 2, then the image should be the sword. So if battleflow.which turn equals 1, then we want something to happen. What do we want to happen? We want to get a component. Well, which component? The sprite renderer component. Okay, which element of it? We want the sprite element, and we want to set it to, so if which turn is equal to 1, then we want it to be set to fireball. And that's what I was talking about. See how it pops up in the list? Imagine if I had 10 different variables using the word fire. This one tells me it is an image variable, not say or a sprite variable rather, as opposed to some other kind of variable. And now we take this, we paste it, again for two reasons. A, I'm lazy. B, to reinforce that this isn't new functionality. This was new functionality. This is just rinse and repeat. We're just taking that idea and tweaking it a little bit. If which turn is equal to 2, then we want it to be the sword underscore image. That should actually work without making any other changes because which turn is already changing. So let's run it. So there's the fireball. Click on it. Turns to the sword. Click on it. They attack, and it goes back to the fireball. Fireball, sword, and there we go. So that's working. So just like that, it's now context sensitive. So a really short video this time, but the next part is really separate functionality. I don't want to try to cram it into one video. The next video is going to be actually adding a new functionality, and that is the ability to defend. So technically I should add the defend function before I add the UI for it, seeing as that's how I've introduced the other functionality, specifically the attack. So in the next video, I'll show you how to add the defense function, and then we will go right into the UI equivalent of that, just as we did with this. So, okay, that should do it for this video then.